Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Fish Den 365. I'm Den Haring, and today we're going to do an unbagging. It's not a box.
That's what I'm talking about.
Recently I went to Cabelas Bass Pro Shops and bought a number of fishing items getting ready for the upcoming season. So I thought I'd share it with you today, what I bought. There's a whole huge bag full of stuff right here. Move it over here. And we'll just start pulling everything out of here. Show you what I got. Thought you might be interested in it. It's a lot of stuff. So the first one is a Zoom centipede. Green pumpkin. I got this as an alternative to the Senko because, you know, the fish have to be getting used to seeing some of these things, and the centipede is a nice bait because it has a flat side on it and it has a unique fall when you fish it. I like to fish this thing in two ways. I'll either Texas rig it and put a nail weight in the back, or I will wacky rig it with a nail weight in the back. And that makes it fall in a very unique way. It actually can fall away from you, away from the rod. It could actually fall under docks and that kind of thing. And sometimes this thing can be a real killer, fishing it that way. So I wanted to be prepared and have them in case the situation came up where I would need to fish it. And that's why I bought those. Got some very small 1/15 ounce Ned rig weight heads here, Ned rig heads. Here's some size 2 drop shot hooks. I use them for drop shot. It's a Gamakatsu split shot drop shot hook, red. Be good for drop shotting. Here's a tiny fluke. This is Zoom Smoke and Shad Tiny Flukes. I'll show you what these look like. Take a look at that. Looks like a little finesse fish. It's got a split tail, and I felt that I needed more of this kind of smaller finesse bait for when I'm drop shotting and for some other specialized type of fishing that we'll be getting into later in the season. And I've got the same color Smoke and Shad Super Fluke Juniors. This is a bait that most people are very familiar with. One of the ways I like to fish this bait, here it is I will put one of those little screw pins, a centering pin screw lock, into the nose of the bait. And then I'll put that drop shot hook through the nose, through the opening of that centering pin, and I'll throw it around that way, and I have a really good finesse type of presentation this way. And you can throw it. It works really well in rivers and in lakes as well. But anytime you need a finesse presentation, that's a really good way to fish the bait. Let's see what else we got here. I got a couple of these. These are the Rippin' Wraps from Rapala. Let me open one of these up for you. Show you this bait. This one has a real thin back, a very loud rattle. I really like to fish this bait as a drop bait, as a jigging bait. I'll throw it down there, let it go to the bottom, and then rip it up, and then let it fall again. Much the way you would fish a blade bait. Or that kind of bait, you know, what they call stroking a jig almost, but with the lipless crankbait. And this one is one of the better baits for that application because the way it falls and the way it comes back up and lifts up. It has a really unique fall to it, and it's a good way of catching fish on a reaction strike. Got some various Norman crankbaits here. This year I really got into fishing these Norman deep little ends, and that's what these are. Very good baits. One of them is root beer, and this one's called lavender shad. These things I really like because they go down to that 8 to 12 foot depth, and they don't wear you out. They fish in a way where they have good action to them, but they don't wear you out, and you can get them down to that good depth rather quickly, and they really seem to work well in the applications that I use them for. Caught a lot of bass on them last year. I got a Heddon Super Spook Junior here. This is for night fishing when I go to Lake Wallenpaupack and Beltsville. It matches the alewife size. I was curious about the Junior. I've been fishing the larger Zara Spook, but I think the Junior is more closely related to the size of the bait fish in some of those systems I'm fishing. So I thought I'd get one just to see how it works for next year. And I think it has a one knocker in it too, so it makes some noise, but a different type of noise. I also got a net. You might remember in that last muskie, that giant muskie that I caught last week, I broke the net. My brother netting the fish, it just bent right out, so we got a good strong net as well. I also got some fishing line, and the reason why I got the line, well, let me tell you what I've got first. This is 8-pound test spider wire braid, and I got 6-pound test trilene monofilament XL line. And the reason why I bought these lines is because I invested in a new rod and reel, which will be the subject of another video. I have to try this BFS system out. It's using bait cast tackle in a finesse ultralight situation. So I ordered a Shimano Curado BFS reel, and I got a Sierra rod from Dobbins. The Dobbins Sierra rod is an ultralight 7-foot rod, and I never tried BFS before, but I prefer bait cast fishing over spinning rod fishing. Spinning rod fishing, I use that's the tool I use when I have to cast something that's 1/8 of an ounce or less in most cases. And that's a great way to fish for light baits because you can throw them a good distance. But spinning reels, they tend to have more issues than bait casters, and they're not as accurate. That type of cast using a spinning rod and spinning reel is not as accurate as casting with a bait caster and bait casting reel. And I've been seeing and reading all about and watching videos about this bait finesse system where you're using a bait casting rod, and supposedly you can cast these extremely light baits, 1/16 ounce, 1/32 ounce, 1/8 ounce on a bait casting rod as far as, if not further than, a spinning rod would cast. And of course you have the advantages of all the advantages that bait casters give you. A little more accuracy, more control over the cast, more control over fighting and landing the fish. So I had to give it a try. So I have that rod and reel. I haven't even opened them yet. I'll probably do a separate opening video on that just to show it to you. And obviously I won't be getting out and fishing with that until a little later, but it could be really fun fishing for trout with that as well on the streams, because you can throw light lures for trout as well. I had these real little poppers, the Rebel Teeny Pop R. I just did a video on this a little while ago. I'll put a link to it up here. And today I have to use a spinning rod to throw those. But a spinning rod doesn't really lend itself very well to working that bait on the surface the way a bait caster would. So I'm looking forward to throwing that little Teeny Pop R on the bait caster, because there are times in some of the fishing, the lakes that I fish, the Delaware River, Shohola, Beltsville, where there are times where giant fish will eat really small bait and not anything else. They start queuing in on the little stuff, the little young of the year bait right after the spawn takes place. We're talking time frame of June. And sometimes, and also it happens again in September, and sometimes you can catch some very large fish on some very small baits if you can get them far enough away from your boat or from where you're fishing from shore. And this is the latest tool for doing that, this bait finesse system. So looking forward to fishing with that. You guys know that I like this lure a lot. This is the Vibrato. It used to be a Seville bait. They must have sold the rights to Berkeley because Berkeley has it now. And this is the hologram shad, I believe, or natural shiner it's called. Sorry. I've got this color. I got this bait in a bunch of other colors, and the last time I was at Cabelas, I couldn't get this color. And this is one of my favorite colors because it looks a lot like the forage fish where I fish a lot. And so that's called natural shiner. And it's got a really nice finish to it. Hopefully you can see it. Sticking with the finesse fishing side of things, this is the Z-Man TRD Tickler Z. The Tickler Z is a bait that I've started using more this fall, and I really like it. It's smaller than the Ned rig, but it's got these little tails that when this stands up, these tails are just free swinging in the water. This is green pumpkin. I was really hoping to find, I think it's called green pumpkin goby. It's green pumpkin with some purple in it, purple fleck, but they didn't have that color. So I got green pumpkin, and I got something called Houdini here. Let me show you the Houdini color. It's got like that crawfish back and then a light, like a molting belly. So this could also be a very good bait. You just fish it on a real light jig head, let it go to the bottom, and you can just let it sit there and it'll actually stand up on the bottom like this, and then you can kind of work it along. A really, really good smallmouth bait killer for smallmouths. Largemouths eat it too. So that's the Z-Man TRD Tickler Z's. Looking forward to fishing those at Lake Wallenpaupack. All right, let's continue here. You guys know I use this bait a lot. This is the Hazardon shad from Megabass, and I really like the Tennessee shad color. I had to get more because I use these up quite a bit. So just bought some more of the, it's the only pack they had, or I would have bought more, of the Tennessee shad color. Excellent color, catches me a lot of fish. Bought some more head cement. That's for when I'm tying my feather hooks, and also when I do my knots from when I tie my uni-to-uni knot from braid to my leader. I'll put a link to that video in case you're interested to see that. And so that's what that's for. Another Norman deep little end crankbait here. I forgot to pull that one out, but that's a red one for early spring. So this is a bait that will do well very soon. Got some various hooks here. These are all trebles. I got a couple of, I got some size 6 EWG extra wide gap treble hooks. Gamakatsu is my favorite treble hook. I got a couple of packs of size 4. I'll be tying some feather hooks on these for more of my top waters for this spring. Also got some Mustad triple grips in size 8 because I can't find size 8 in the Gamakatsu. So I had some smaller lures like those teeny Pop R's I was telling you about that require some smaller hooks. So I got the triple grips. It's the same style of hook where the hook point is bent inward and it seems to hold the fish better. I got some of this stuff. This is Berkeley Gulp. Look at the way that shines. This is a color I haven't seen before, a new color. They had a bunch of new colors. This is called Blue Shiner. It's got dark blue back and like a shimmering glimmer silver body to it. Hopefully you can see that through the bag. Should be able to. Anyway, this Berkeley Gulp stuff really catches fish. The scent or whatever it is, or just the natural look of it, it doesn't give any negative cues. It does really well on drop shots, and so I thought I'd try this new additional color here on some of my favorite lakes. It's also great for pan fishing too. This is the 2.5 inch size, so it's small. It catches perch, crappie, bluegill, but it catches big bass as well. Got a lipless crankbait here, cotton cordell. Not an expensive bait. It's a 1/2 ounce. This one I use for shallow water over shallow grass because it doesn't go down very far. But there's something about the spot that sometimes they really like. If a rattle trap's not working, I'll try this. And I've had a couple of days with the cordell spot that were just phenomenal. One day that I remember specifically, I was fishing at Lake Mincy in Northampton County. This was years ago. and I was throwing some different baits in the weeds. This was early summer, late spring, and there was good milfoil, and I was just ripping this bait through the milfoil. I was trying some different baits, and I got onto the spot. It was called prism shad, and oh man, when I tried some different lures, and I wasn't really getting bit. When I threw that one out there, it was catching. It wasn't even fishing anymore. It was crazy how they wanted that specific bait with that specific sound. Sometimes that's how fishing is, and if you get on it right, it could be like magic. And that day, that's kind of how it was. Well, you can never have too many square bill crankbaits, and so I got this Lucky Craft. I like their square bills. They're a good price for what they are. They're a very good quality bait, and they're in that $7 or $8 range. Not too bad. And I really like this color. This color is called Copper Green Shad. I'd say that's a good description of the color. Very nice. When I saw these two baits, these are Strike King KVD splashes. They're poppers, and I thought, boy, I saw the bait and I liked the look of them. Let me open the bigger one for you. Pull it out, get a look at it here. Everything I saw on the bait I liked. I liked how there wasn't too deep of a cup in the mouth, and that the top extended further than the bottom. That lets it spit well. It's meant for fishing a little faster this way, and it allows you to walk the dog, but it still spits water in front of it. The shape of the bait, the smoothness of the bait, and the size of the bait I really liked, and the color I liked as well. And then I thought, before I bought it, well, I have my phone with me. I'll look and see some of the reviews of this bait, and it got some really good reviews. So I'll have to probably do a Topwater Tuesday on this thing in the future. I don't know. I don't have any personal experience with it. I've never fished one, but I'll be trying that out this spring and summer. Got a smaller size here too, so two different sizes, different applications. I have a feeling that this popper is going to be another good one. One more item in the bag, and it's appropriate for this time of year. Just another blade bait. I lost one the other day, so I thought I'd replace it. And so this is a Bass Pro Shops laser blade. I like this color. It's called Chrome Black, and I've caught a lot of fish. Out of all of the blade baits, I probably caught more fish on this than any of the others. And this color as well. It just catches fish very well in a lot of different conditions. Well, that's my stash for my show today. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some information. I tried to talk a little bit about each bait and what I was thinking and why I was doing what I'm doing. Hope that was helpful to you and that you enjoyed it. If you did, if you don't mind, give me that thumbs up. Don't forget, if you haven't done so already, if you're watching the content, if you can, subscribe to the channel. That helps me get my channel out to more viewers. Share with your friends. Looking forward to doing more videos. We have a Topwater Tuesday coming up real soon. As always, looking forward to bringing that to you. And as you saw, we have this bait finesse system to go into. A lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff coming up on Fish Den 365. Until next time, be safe out there. Hope to see you on the water. And as always, may God bless your fishing endeavors.